My girlfriend is angry that she set herself up to fail, and I am entirely unsympathetic. I, 38 am a self-employed building surveyor. A week before Christmas, a client contacted me and asked if I could facilitate an urgent job between Christmas and New Year. I have no children and very little else to do during that period, and the money being offered for the rush job was substantial, so I agreed to 2 days of work, today and tomorrow, the 29th and 30th of December. The client is great, the pay is great, and I had no other plans. The work is in London, and I live in the north of England, so hotel stays are standard for my business. I would be staying Sunday night through Tuesday night and traveling back on Wednesday, New Year's Eve, to enjoy the festivities. I told my girlfriend, 33F, about the work I had taken on, and she immediately said she wanted to come with me. I asked why, and she said we could have a nice break in the capital and spend some time together. I told her this was not a holiday, it was work, and that she was welcome to join me only if she could entertain herself, because I would be working. I also warned her not to complain about me getting up at 6 a.m. She said that was fine and that she could see friends, go to the markets, do some shopping, and other tourist activities. So I added her name to the hotel room and booked her a train ticket. The hotel is in central London, and I was not paying a fortune to park 45 minutes away from the site. We traveled yesterday afternoon and arrived at the hotel, where the first issue arose. It is a budget hotel, part of a large chain I use regularly, with very basic facilities. She said it was not nice enough for a romantic break. I reminded her that this was not a romantic break and that I was not spending business income on things I did not need, like an expensive hotel room, especially when the room had been booked before she even asked to come. She pulled a face but did not say anything else. I got into my usual work routine, unpacking clothes, putting tools on charge, and then heading out to scout the property and nearby amenities. I told her I was going out, asked if she needed anything from the shops, and left while she was getting into the shower. I returned about an hour later with my usual supplies, bottled water, protein bars, and bananas, which get me through the working day until I find a kebab shop or something similar for dinner. I am not poor by any means, but anything spent while away comes out of my profits, so I keep costs reasonable. When I got back, around 6 p.m. she was dressed up in a nice outfit and halfway through doing her makeup. I assumed she had plans with a friend, so I asked where she was going. She became angry and snapped at me to put on my nice clothes so we could go out. I told her I had not brought any nice clothes and that I was not going out because I had work in the morning. This did not go down well. She immediately started crying and said I had ruined her plans for a nice meal at a restaurant she had apparently made a reservation for. I reminded her again that I was not on holiday, that I was up at 6 a.m., and that my plans consisted of eating, sleeping, and playing on my Switch too. This only made things worse, followed by more tears and another complaint about the hotel not being nice enough. I told her she was upset entirely because of her own actions and her refusal to listen to me, and that I was not sympathetic to her tears when she had unilaterally decided my work trip was a romantic getaway. She locked herself in the bathroom, so I went out to get food. When I returned, she seemed to have reflected and apologized. She had changed into comfortable clothes. We ate, scrolled on our phones for a while, watched a film, and then went to bed. I set my alarm and reminded her I would be up at 6 a.m., then got into bed while she finished in the bathroom. When she came out, she made a big deal about me looking at her. Since I had literally just put my head on the pillow, I told her whatever it was could wait until tomorrow and that she should get into bed. She shouted, "I've put in all this effort and you're not even going to look?" Reluctantly, I rolled over, grabbed my glasses, turned on the bedside lamp, and saw that she was wearing a very revealing maid outfit with all the accessories. She climbed onto the bed and immediately tried to initiate sex. I stopped her and told her she looked amazing, but it was nearly midnight, I was up in a few hours, and I needed to sleep. She shouted, "Well, fuck you," and locked herself in the bathroom again. I turned off the light and went back to sleep. I am not sure how long later, but while I was half asleep, she got into bed, hugged me, and apologized for shouting. The next morning, I got up, showered, and dressed quietly. I kissed her on the forehead, told her I loved her, said I was off to work, and left. It was a normal working day, nothing noteworthy. I finished around 6 p.m. and got back to the hotel just after past. She was there and said she had been shopping, which was obvious from the bags scattered around the room. I went to shower, and when I came out she told me she had laid clothes out for me. On the bed was a brand new outfit, shirt, trousers, and shoes. I thanked her but said I was putting on comfortable clothes, since I had been in work gear all day. She snapped, "You're not going out in your scruffy clothes." That caught me off guard, so I asked why. She then told me we were going out for food and drinks with a friend of hers and the friend's husband. I lost my temper at that point. This was the third time in about 24 hours that I had reminded her I was here for work. I called her ideas stupid. She got upset, and I responded that unilaterally planning romantic outings on a working trip was incredibly stupid. She started crying again. I told her I was not interested in her tears. She is a grown woman who chose to ignore everything she was told, made plans for other people without their agreement or availability, and was now upset because she was not getting what she wanted. She said I did not care about her. I pointed out that she had repeatedly ignored everything I had said, and that she could sulk for as long as she liked, but this situation was entirely her fault and self-inflicted. She was crying heavily by then, so I got dressed and went out to get food, texting her to ask if she wanted anything. She immediately replied saying she was going home. Thankfully, she had an open return train ticket. I got back to the hotel about 30 minutes ago. She has packed her things and left. Now I am sitting alone in my hotel room, picking at the food I bought for her, struggling with one simple question: how could I possibly have made it any clearer that my work trip was not a romantic getaway?